Okay.
Alright, so called the meeting because I have chosen y'all to be my committee to create a walkthrough observation form.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pass around the sign-in sheet, and you'll just sign your name and make sure the date. And while that's going around, I'm gonna go over the agenda. So first thing is introduction and the meeting purpose, which I've kind of already done. We're gonna look at some sample walkthrough forms. And today's July 13th. And we're going to discuss on what we should include in our own form. It's gonna stay to one page, and I'm gonna do a rough draft right here on the iPad. And we can all we will review everything and then we'll finalize any changes that we might want to make. And then it'll be in a top form after that.
Right.
And then after that, we'll do a closing and we'll look over everything. Make sure that we didn't miss any important information that needs to be added. So the first thing I want to show you is our table report, and so that we know what we need to consider. And I've kind of highlighted some areas that we need to see what we've done well in. We gained in fourth grade ELA, but we went down in math. So that's as a campus as a whole. You can see the breakdowns over here if you want to look at that, but we're really just going to focus on the campus as a whole. Fifth grade ELA, we went up, but math again, we went down. So everything, our math is looking like it's going to be the biggest gap that we have right now, but we don't want to lose any ground in ELA either.
Got
it. Here are some sample walkthrough forms. So this one goes over. Of course, you have your general information up here: date, room, observer, the topic of the lesson. Were the learning objectives clear, and was instruction tied to the objectives? Simple yes or no. Classroom environment and student responses, those are going to be more narrative style, where you actually have to write in or make notes where things are. That's the first one. This one here is like a checklist. So if you see it, then you're going to check it off. There are no places for commenting here, but you could make a note out the side if you needed to. Down here, we also have assessment, and that wasn't on the first one, formative or summative. So formative, as you know, is while you're teaching, you're able to get a quick, did the student get this or did they not? So that you can make adjustments as you go. And summative being at the end of something, at the end of the lesson, in the week, whatever. So this one, and it does give quite a bit more information. And there's this one that has a combination of a yes or no check off and then commentary. And some of the different areas that you want to see. This one has planning and preparation, classroom environment, and effective instructional strategies. This one has what the students are doing, what the teachers doing, evidence of school-wide initiatives, and positive climate future. And this is the current form. There's nothing to check off. It's all narrative style. It's just blank. You have to write in every single thing, which I think is going to be more time consuming. And if we're gonna be, um, walking through classrooms, I think we need to, I would like to do it more often. So instead of just our normal 2 times a year, once in the fall, once in the spring, I'd like to, um, those are formal, those are still gonna be there. But then I would also like to do at least both of us, because you're the assistant principal, at least once a month, go into every classroom, each of us go in.
Correct.
So that we have more data, so that we have more, we can give you more feedback. So, what are some things that you think we should include, or how should we have it? Checklist, narrative style, or a combination of both? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it should be a combination of both. We kind of check off certain things that need to be worked on and whatnot, but also have the room to run in, make any kind of notes that are necessary at the same time.
I believe it should be a combination of both, because that allows for, yes, it to be quick, but you still have the writing in there where you can make your own personal notes as to what you put.
So there's a few different things here, and depending on what classroom you go into, also kind of depends on what you're gonna see.
Right.
So we wanna make sure that it's, appropriate for any class to go into, whether that be ELA, math, science, social studies, or some elective. We wanna make sure that it's,
Umbrella.
yes. So. First of all, I think that we need to make sure that the instruction is aligned to our state standards.
Right.
Okay. So. moving up here. Next, I think that we should have something about student engagement. Are they, because,
Like what kind of
If-
student engagement is that?
well, are they participating? Because if they're sitting there doing this on the table, or this right here, or sleeping, or something like that, they're not engaged in the lesson, they're not participating in the lesson. You don't have their attention if they're doing that. And so you can have all of your instruction aligned and the teacher do everything right, but you're not reaching that student because they're not paying attention. So I think that's something that needs to be monitored. We need to see if at least the majority.
Does that include students with like ADD or ADHD?
It's gonna include all students, but if you're talking about,
No, I'm
engaged in something else, we could also do, some areas where we can track student behavior. And, cause students with ADHD, I realize they can't sit still, I understand that. But is it they can't sit still and but they're still listening, or they can't sit still and they're disrupting the whole classroom? So. We'll do student engagement with behavior. What is something else that you think we should see? Our examples here.
something I think it's important is the facilitating small groups for sure. And that's because some students, some children do not, they don't learn as well as a whole
Mhm.
as they do when it's more individualized.
Sure.
The small groups helps individualize it. I'd like to see more of that.
Okay, so do we need areas to put in, maybe, um, something that we can check off, is it, cause you still have to have whole group instruction, and then your small group instruction comes after that to reinforce everything, so maybe we need to have something where we check off what the teacher is doing, are they teaching whole group, are they teaching small group, are they going around to student groups? Maybe we should have a spot where we can check off which one they're actually doing when we go in, because we're not necessarily, we're not gonna go in at the beginning of the class, beginning of the lesson necessarily, we may come in at the end.
Right.
And see a transition into a different lesson, there's just no way to know that.
I think setting it up where you would have the, whatever kind of group style they're in at the time. when you come into the
What about, classroom management? Since there are some classrooms that you go in and the teacher is just teaching away. But then you have students that are laughing, cutting up, and the teacher just still keeps on teaching away. So, do you think we should have classroom management on there as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. That provides some opportunity for certain students that may slip through the cracks. To not be as likely to slip through and not be noticed.
So this one has planning and preparation. I'm not sure that that necessarily needs to be added on a walkthrough observation form. If you're doing a formal observation, then obviously that's part of the state standards for teachers, but if it's just a walkthrough, I mean, we only collect lesson plans once a week, so if that teacher had changed their lesson plan at the last minute or the day before and they had to prep for that, I don't think we're gonna see that change on the lesson plan necessarily. And then if we go
You may
through
not
and
see
it's not
that.
aligned, then, you know,
You may not see the change so much on the lesson plan, but during the teaching itself, you may see the preparation.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you'll know pretty quickly whether or not a teacher is prepared to teach the lesson, even if they had to do it the day before instead of the week before, and you're gonna know if they're prepared. That because it's gonna be evident.
That may be one of the spots that you kind of like leave open to use right.
Okay.
Do anything like whether or not you believe there was planning preparation involved.
Okay.
Leave it open.
More for commentary. You agree?
I really think this one is just, there's not enough there, and I think there's, I'm not sure that that's a very good example. And it's an example of what we should not use. Okay, so this one has evidence of school-wide or district initiatives. Are we really concerned about that when we go welfare, or are we more concerned about are the students actually learning something with that particular teacher?
I'm more concerned with all the students learning. I will say this, okay, even though I, like you said just now, that display, or what not to do. I like the student responses. Versus this is ask their students to identify the objective of the lesson. You know, that, you know, you can pick top of the class and bottom of the class to get an idea of where those students line up or where they are, and get a wonderful idea of what needs to take place to bring let's say this student here that may be struggling up to the same to a closer level to the one that doesn't necessarily struggle.
Okay, so yeah, I'm really not worried. Not that we don't need to make sure that those are being followed through with, but I really don't think that is our major focus. Positive climate and teacher efficacy. This really goes along with classroom management, or you tell me what you think. Does it really go along with classroom management?
I think that it kind of does, but when you think about classroom management, you can manage a classroom and keep those students quiet and keep them non-disruptive and not have them in a necessarily positive climate.
Okay.
So I think it is something that needs to be separated, but also kept in the same subcategory.
Okay, so maybe under classroom management, do, maybe, is it positive? Yes.
Positive, negative
if we're
reinforcement
not-
and used.
Okay.
I think another big thing of attention to would be, does the teacher, as it says down here, connections to prior learning. That is a big one as well. Is the teacher continuously reinforcing what he or she has taught in the past?
Yeah, that's a good one. Anything else anybody wants to add in? That's 4 different areas with some subcategories. Anything else?
Well, when we're looking at our numbers,
Mhm.
like the ELA went up, but math, we see how it goes down, right? Is there a way? We see even over here, the even in ELA, like we got special ed, is going up. Everything's going up except for like, mathematics. We're seeing that in grade 4, it goes down. In grade 5, it goes down. Is there a way to incorporate with ELA, okay? Into, with the ELA, is there a way to incorporate mathematics into it? Almost in a simplified way to where the math is constantly being reinforced while they're, I mean, while they're reading and writing and all of that.
Well, you have 2 separate core areas there, and each of those core areas have their own standards, and they're really, those are ELA and math are really don't mesh well together, like ELA and social studies could mesh together, and science and math can mesh together, but ELA and math really don't. Now then, with that being said, yes, in our science class, you could have everything that's being taught in math reinforced. For the purpose of the walkthrough, is there something you want to add specifically on the form that documents if they're doing cross curricular? Connecting math and science or ELA and social studies. Is that something that you would want to add?
I would like to see, something that's, since we're going down in these, in the math area, I would like to see something as we walk through, something that we can, say, we can check off and say, okay, yeah, we're seeing it take place here, or it's lacking in this area, as far as just reinforcing the math.
Yeah.
To bring it up.
So yeah, we may need to plan some, or maybe in a PLC or our weekly PLC, maybe address that with the teachers, with math and science teachers, so that we'll make sure that there's reinforcement on the math. And we'll go ahead and we'll plan putting it in our walkthrough form, that way we can check it off and make sure that they're following through on that. Anything else anybody wants to add? Okay, so our form, I think that I sort of want to style it after this one, or let's put this into the side, because these 2 are more narrative style and we want a combo. So should we, I kind of want to merge these 2, the way that they look, but I'm thinking I want to have like maybe a checklist on this side with commentary where it needs to be. What do y'all think about that? I think that
Should do it. I agree, do it like a spreadsheet where you can check it off. We can walk through the tablet and keep up with everything. But do it in like a Excel form where you can check off. But then at the same time, you got your spot over here that's open where you can, as you're observing, you can make notes. And even if need be, if there's anything in the spreadsheet form, if there's anything you wanted to add outside of the notes that you saw, that may be something that you want to go as far as saying, hey, look, we noticed this is great. You can side note it over here to the, to the side of the spreadsheet as well.
that's a good idea. Okay, so the areas that we're gonna have is instructional lines, so we're gonna have sub areas under that. But specifically, what the teacher is doing, like are they teaching whole group, are they doing small group, are they, monitoring and observing, what are they doing? And also, was it evident that they planned for that lesson? Doesn't matter if it's in their lesson plan, but did they plan for that lesson? Is it
Right.
being taught as if they planned it? Thoroughly. Okay, the second area will be student engagement. And along with that, it's gonna be some of the behaviors that we might see, what they're doing. So are they attentive? Are they playing? Or, what are they doing? Next is classroom management. Is the teacher taking the time to go through, is she keeping up with her routines? Is she, because if the class is managed well, it runs very smoothly. It's like a well-oiled machine if has good management, he or she. And also we want to include in that specifically what the environment is. Is it a positive environment? Is it a negative environment? And what makes us think that. So I'll probably put like a checkbox, positive or negative with the area for commentary. And then the fourth area is student response. We're gonna ask 2 students in the classroom what the lesson objective is, or what their learning. If they can tell us what they're learning about, that's kind of what I would be looking for.
Yeah.
So specifically those 2 things.
Now, I wanna go as far as to say though, I think the best response is gonna be from, the higher, the child that's doing the better class and the one that's not quite there. That way we know what to do to bring this one up.
True, but well, I mean, that works after we know the students a little bit, because if you just randomly choose 2 students and this is the first month of school, we're not sure which we're gonna get yet, unless you already know the students, which I don't, because I'm new to the campus, so if you already know them, then.
When we started, we're wanting to do this more than just twice a year.
Right,
So that gives us an opportunity to learn the stats and then to assess and get and really start to make a change.
Right.
Among, not only among the students, but in the district as a whole.
and then, I forgot this part too, cross-curricular reinforcement. Are the teachers doing that? Are they connecting, especially with math, also with ELA and social studies, but especially with math and science? Is there cross-curricular reinforcement, especially on the math? Because we don't want to lose ground in ELA, but we definitely want to gain ground in our math.
Right.
Okay, so that's a recap of everything that we need included on the form, and we want to sort of merge these 2 to kind of make it, that's what it looks like. Checklists on one side and maybe your commentary on the other, or something like that. Is there anything else that we can think of?
That sounds good. I like it.
Okay, so, okay, so we looked at our report, our taper report to look at our progress. We looked at 4 different walkthrough forms and kind of looked at those and analyzed those, and we're picked and choose what we like about them, what we don't like about them, to create our own form, and what needs to go on that form. Do you think we've accomplished our goal here? Do we have a form that we can get data from and use it to help us in our future this year? Do you think we can do that? Is everybody in agreement?
I think we have a form or where we have the outline for the form that we would like to go with, that's going to benefit us for this year. Again, it's always, we're always learning, we're always growing, and we want to do better. But for right now, I think we've come up with a great form to work with.
It stays specific enough in the important areas and yet umbrella enough to be, give us accurate data throughout the year.
So is this, when you look at this form, is this, do you know exactly what we're looking for? So, well, the outline of the form, can you tell, can you, just by looking at it, can you see that you know what areas you're gonna be observed on? Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, I appreciate y'all's time and help. Thank you.